welcome back to the channel, folks. This is your host, Sominus Dreadraven, and I will be taking you through a walkthrough of the Stillness meditation for the Angels of Wrath. Okay. Now, I know that I just put a short video out on this, like on the process, and I've tried explaining it. I know some people are still going to have questions, and they're still going to be like, I don't understand. What do you mean by this? So I figure the best thing probably at this point is also to just do a walkthrough process. If you just play this audio clip while you are performing the stillness or needing to perform it, once you've done it a couple times, you should pretty much have the basic idea on how to do it from that point on your own. Okay. Now, this process that we're going to start with the 15-minute mark, and we're going to go all the way up to the 100-year mark for performing the stillness. So we're going to do 15 minutes, then an hour, then yesterday, tomorrow, 1 week ago, 1 month ago, blah, 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 all the way up to the 100-year mark, okay? Now, for those of you that follow the process into the second part, where you're focusing on distance and perspective with an object between your two hands, note that I will not be going through that process here. I'm simply going through how I normally follow it, okay? Because usually by that point I've achieved the state that I want in order to do my ritual, okay? I know that may not be for everyone. Some people are going to go into that second part of the process, in which case, I suggest that you go ahead and do that, and it's a fairly easy process. Again, I've already mentioned it, how to do it. The book explains how to do it. It's not too difficult, okay? So with that, we're going to pause for a few moments, and then we're going to start it. I'm going to go through the walkthrough process. Just follow along, and you should be fine. Okay, hopefully in about this won't take more than maybe 10 minutes, maybe, hopefully. But once you, again, learn the process and you've done it a few times, it shouldn't take more than a couple minutes, once you have it down pat, right? So sit back, hang tight, and we'll get started. All right, and as a quick side note, folks, I do apologize for any background noise that may be, end up picking up. My microphone may pick up here. I also do apologize for any problems that I may have with doing some of the videos. This is new software that I'm learning, so it does take a little bit of time for me to put some of these out. Any background noise that you may hear may be like a fan operating in the background here in my recording area. Again, if that does become bothersome, I do apologize. It's not my intention. So sit back, hold tight, and we'll get started here. And I want you to make sure that you're in a spot that you're not going to be disturbed. Just relax, take a seat. Make sure you have comfortable clothing on. You shouldn't be wearing any tight clothing. Preferably something loose would be best. Make sure it's comfortable in the room, temperature-wise, for you. Not too hot, not too cold. Just close your eyes. Now I want you to think to a point that happened 15 minutes ago. What happened, or where were you 15 minutes from this moment in time? You don't have to be accurate. You don't have to be exact. Just acknowledge the moment Take a deep breath and let it out. Relax. And once you have that, I now want you to think about where you will be 15 minutes from now. Again, you don't have to be exact in the spot or location or what you'll be doing 15 minutes from now. But I want you to think about it. Play with it a little bit. Roll it around. Again, acknowledge it. Take a deep breath. Let it out. And be aware of the stillness. Now, I want you to think about where you were 1 hour ago. Again, you don't have to be exact on this. You don't have to be precise. But think about it and acknowledge that point 1 hour ago. Where were you? What were you doing? Relax. Take a deep breath. Release it. Now, think about where you will be 1 hour from now. Roll it around in your mind. Think about it. Once you have an idea, again, it doesn't have to be precise or exact. Acknowledge it. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Be aware of the stillness. Where were you yesterday at this time? Think about it. Acknowledge it. Where were you yesterday at this time? Deep breath in. Let it out. Where will you be tomorrow at this time? Will you be working? Will you be shopping? Spending time with your family? Is it your off day? Again, you don't have to be exact. But I want you to think about it, and I want you to acknowledge it. Take in that deep breath. Let it out. Beware of the stillness. were you last week at this time? What were you doing? Who were you with? Think about it. Acknowledge it. Deep breath in. Let it out. Now think about where you will be 1 week from now. Maybe you'll be on a vacation. Maybe starting a new job. Sending a child off to college. Think about it. Acknowledge it. Deep breath in. Let it out. Beware of the stillness. Where were you 1 month ago? What were you doing? Now, take a deep breath, acknowledge, let it out. In contrast, where will you be 1 month from now? Deep breath in, let it out. Be aware. We're going to move a little bit faster here. Where were you 1 year ago? Now, where will you be 1 year from now? Think about it. Contrast the two. How different are they? Acknowledge them. 1 year ago, what were you doing? 1 year from now, what may you be doing? What might your life look like? It doesn't have to be exact. We're not predicting the future. We're only thinking of possibilities and stretching the consciousness. Breathe in, let it out. Be still, and be aware. Five years ago. What were you doing 5 years ago? What will you be doing 5 years from now? Where might you be? What might things look like? Think about it. Acknowledge them both. Contrast the two. Deep breath in. Let it out. Be still. Be aware. 10 years ago, how old were you? What was your life back then? Was it simpler than it is today? Was it more complicated? What do you think life's going to look like 10 years from now for yourself, for your family, for your community? How might things change? Think about it. Contrasting the past and the future. Deep breath in, let it out. "25 years ago, what were you doing? Where might you have been 25 years ago? How simpler were times 25 years ago? What might it look like 25 years from now?" That might be a lot for some of us because maybe some of us are already in our middle age and we're wondering if we'll even be here 25 years from now. Think about it. Be still. Be aware. Acknowledge the past. Acknowledge the future. You don't have to be precise. Just let it play around a little bit. Breath in, let it out. "50 years ago." I want you to think about that. For some of us, 50 years ago, we weren't born yet. Or we may have been a couple years old, but we probably don't remember that much of our childhood at that point. But in some cases, we have photos to remember us by those memories. So, what's it like back 50 years ago? If you could remember that far back, if you're that old. Are you going to be here in 50 years from now? Who knows? How are things going to change 50 years from now? Breathe in, let it out. Be aware of the stillness. Finally, I want you to think 100 years ago. 100 years, that was 1925. Where were you in 1925? Were you even born in 1925? Do you have family members that were alive back then? Maybe you could talk to some of them and ask them to recount what life was like for them during that period. What was happening in 1925 where you live, or where you used to live, or just America in general, or whatever country you live in for that matter. And then what might be happening 100 years from now? Are things really going to change all that much? Or will we be so far in the future, 100 years from now, that life will look so much more different than what it is today? You can think about these things. You can think about anything you want, really. Just want to acknowledge 100 years ago in the past and 100 years from now in the future. Deep breath in, relax, let it out. Be still, be aware. And with that, folks, that's going to end this segment. If you're used to performing the second part of the process to the stillness, by all means, you could go ahead and do that after you stop this audio segment. For those of you that don't, I want you to keep that feeling. Think about everything you acknowledged, everything in the past, all, like, the entire timeline. What did you think about? Contrast that to your future self. Be aware of the present moment. Feel it. Probably feels a little weird, a little wonky. You might feel a little lightheaded for some people. For some, you might feel like you're able to observe the ever-present space around you. Past, present, future, all at one time. It's called omnipresence. Acknowledge it. It's your universe. This is your stillness. This is your time. You're in your universe now. This is where you make your magic happen. This is where you make changes to your reality happen through doing rituals, ritual work, spell work. You do your shadow work. Acknowledge it. It's part of your universe. At this point, again, you can stop the audio at this point. Go directly into any ritual with Angels of Wrath or anything else you'd want to go ahead and do if you'd like. And with that, folks, I bid you a very fond farewell. Take care and have a blessed day. Bye.